The Kings admit to taking the L and trade away Pierre Lub Dubois. The centerpiece for the Sparks rebuild has blown out her knee, and Walker Buehler goes back on the injured list. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report, and man, do we have a lot to discuss this morning. It is June 20th, 2024. I am still stuck in Southern Illinois. Now, I don't want to say I know what the big industry is out in these parts, but I met a person yesterday with a dog named Kilo. Make your own conclusions from that. Meanwhile, if you like being in the know about LA sports, click the like button. Click the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Bobby Miller's return from injury was suboptimal. He gives up 5 earned runs in 6 1/3 innings. Colorado 7, Dodgers 6. Shohei Ohtani did drive in 3 runs. Jason Hayward drove in 2 more. Galaxy 2, New York City FC 0, Dejan Joveljic and Diego Fagundes score. Meanwhile, LAFC got a very late goal from Kai Kamara, the equalizer. They tie Austin 1-1. The Galaxy and LAFC are tied for second place in MLS Western Conference. Angel City FC won for the first time in 6 matches, 3-2. Kennedy Fuller, Rocky Rodriguez, and Sidney LaRue all score. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers are at Colorado at noon. Gavin Stone is 7-2 with a 3.01 ERA. Ty Blach, interesting name, 3-4 with a 4.65 ERA. And the Sparks are at New York at 4 o'clock. Now let's get to the news. I would assume that Kings general manager Rob Blake wanted a legacy by rebuilding the Kings into a Stanley Cup contender. What his legacy actually has been from desperately trying to recover from his own catastrophic mistakes. The franchise just flatlines because Blake did something stupid. Then he comes running in with the paddles at the last moment, screams, "Clear!" and zaps the Kings right back into a very faint heartbeat. This is the guy who once thought Cal Peterson was on the precipice of becoming the next Jonathan Quick. So Blake gave Peterson a salary cap busting contract. And then Peterson flamed out. Blake was able to find a team that would eat the contract. Now, in an even more impressive stint of life-saving trickery, Blake has found a taker for career sluggard Pierre Lub Dubois. And it's a stunner that he found any team that would want to take this malcontent. It shouldn't be a surprise at all, though, that if there was a city out there that would take Dubois off of Blake's hands, if there was a city, it would be Washington, D.C., a city known for slouches who are supposedly important but aren't serious about doing their job, right? Welcome to Washington. You will fit in with every other dullard that is in a pantsuit or a suit in that town. Enjoy yourself. The Kings will get back a starting goalie, allegedly, Darcy Kemper, who is also desperately in need of a fresh start. He is another former backup to Quick. He did play for the Kings for a while, but then he signed his own big money contract and face planted. Now back to Dubois for a moment. He's only 25, and yet this is already his 3rd attempt to reboot his career. The guy's known for creating not goals, but torch-bearing mobs chasing him out of Columbus, Winnipeg, and now Los Angeles. And I got to tell you, that alone is extremely impressive because I am a Kings fan, and I know Kings fans. They're passionate, but they've also been extremely patient for decades. But I have never seen Kings fans so mad as watching Dubois in LA for just 1 year. And it's easy to understand, though, because, again, Columbus, Winnipeg, Now going to Washington. This guy has been in a slouching across North America tour. And then they send him to Washington, and the Capitals GM says pretty much what Blake said just 1 year ago when they acquired Dubois. This is from the Capitals GM. Quote, "This acquisition brings in a talented 25-year-old with immense potential to become a top-tier center in the NHL." Sure. Blake swore about the same stuff. He saw in Dubois the potential replacement for Anze Kopitar, and then he even thought that before Kopitar would retire, he would have the best trio of centers in the league: Kopitar, Dubois, Philip Deneau. But Dubois played so disinterested that he eventually got demoted to the third line. The guy scored only 40 points this year. Not 40 goals, 40 points. So none of this is to excuse what Blake did to get Dubois in the first place. He sent Winnipeg multiple high prospects: Gabriel Velarde, Alex Iafallo. The Jets wound up qualifying for the playoffs. So believe you me, he won that. The Winnipeg won that trade going away. Now, as for Kemper, he's not a game changer in net. There was a reason he was a backup to Jonathan Quick. The dude is also 34, which means that the Kings once again are hoping to get something, anything, table scraps out of a netminder who is very close to retirement. In the last 2 years, there's been a legion of over their prime goalies coming into town. Cam Talbot, Phoenix Copley, David Rittich, Eunice Korpisalo, all of them the big hope for LA in net. The Kings will also get some cap relief, which could help them retain free agent defenseman Matt Roy. Blake, after the trade, took responsibility for not doing, quote, a good enough job of integrating him on the team, him being Dubois. But that's not where Blake made his mistake. And he should know that. Dubois plays hockey half-assed. You can't play half-assed hockey. It's chippy. It's intense. It is played by hard-scrabble people. You risked your job on a known slacker, paid him handsomely, and then drained a deep prospect pool in order to land him for 40 points in 1 year. And all you get for it back is a goalie looking for a fresh start, but at least you got $68 million off the books, which will presumably help your replacement. And that's the memo. Kings fans, let me know what you think. Sparks forward/center Cameron Brink, who is the number 2 overall pick of the recent WNBA draft, arguably the centerpiece of the rebuild for the league's signature franchise, has a torn anterior cruciate ligament in her left knee, so her season is over. When you blast out an ACL, it normally takes about 9 months to recover, and believe you me, nobody is clamoring for the WNBA season to be extended to 9 months. Now, there's nothing nefarious about how she got hurt, which is a really uncomfortable question to ask if there was anything nefarious about how she got hurt. But when you consider how many opponents in the WNBA have been speed bagging Caitlin Clark's face, the question does come to mind, right? It simply looked like Brink's knee gave out while she was dribbling to the basket. Now, ESPN is reporting that this is, quote, a crushing blow for Brink, the Sparks, the WNBA, and USA Basketball, unquote. Why don't you say this is a crushing blow to the Middle East peace process while you're at it? What the hell are you talking about? Look, we still deal in reality here at Faithful Angelenos. Yes, she was selected to the U.S. Olympic 3-on-3 basketball team. But let's be real, rec league hoops is not real basketball. So the emphasis doesn't have to be on the United States. The emphasis has to be on the Sparks and their future. And by the way, the Sparks prospects this season are lousy. They're 4-11. They still have the 4th overall pick and Rickea Jackson out there, but there's no reason to believe that they're going to make the playoffs. None. They could, maybe, but that's because the WNBA, honestly, is still not that good. Meanwhile, the WNBA is one more cheap shot away on Clark from going to an all-female race war. What the hell are we talking about here? An all-female race war? Look, I don't know everything about race and politics, right? But when I was younger, I thought if there was ever going to be a race war, it would be over something legitimate, like police misconduct. Never in my wildest dreams did I think it could happen over a white chick with a jump shot. We've got to come to our senses in this country, people. Anyone who claims, as far as I'm concerned, anyone who claims that the future is female needs to take a look at the WNBA and pray for the patriarchy. I'd be lying to you if I said I had intricate knowledge of women's basketball, but from what I can tell you, though, regarding the Sparks, it might be a good idea to tank. Jackson and Brink are considered bigs. And from what I took a look at last night, most of the top players in college women's basketball next year are guards. It should be a good idea to land a playmaker, but that's just my guess. Walker Buehler, at this point in his comeback, just doesn't have it. Not in his first 8 starts with the Dodgers after rehabbing from a second Tommy John surgery. Now, the Dodgers are claiming that his comeback is stalling out due to injury. Not from his twice rebuilt elbow, but from an inflamed right hip. So they put him back on the injured list Wednesday. To be fair, he did get blasted in the hip with a batted ball in Colorado on Tuesday, but let's be honest with ourselves. We shouldn't buy this. He was already allowing an alarming number of runs. He gave up 7 in 4 innings to the Rockies on Tuesday. From 2018 to 2021, the highest ERA that guy ever posted was 3.44. Now it's 5.84. Now, Dave Roberts is searching in vain for the positive. Quote, I think he's a little bit sort of finding himself again. I think he's still in search mode. So he's getting back to health, I think for the mind and some clarity, this will be a good thing, unquote. Here's why you should not believe that the reason for Buehler's problems are in injury. He was hit by the batted ball. The Dodgers did not pull him from the game. More troubling news for USC football. One 5-star edge rusher decommitted from the Trojans on Tuesday, and then another 5-star defensive lineman recruit asked him to hold the beer that he's not legally allowed to drink yet, and he decommitted on Wednesday. Justice Terry, a tackle from Georgia, where we heard that before, reopened his recruitment. Now, he was viewed as the number 1 interior defensive lineman in the class of 2025. As a result of losing 2 5-star prospects, the Trojans draft class, it's not quite in free fall, but you could easily imagine Wile E. Coyote holding up a little sign that says "Yipe" before he falls into the canyon. USC has fallen to 15th for 2025 recruiting. Now, it doesn't mean that Terry or Isaiah Gibson, the defensive end who decommitted, it doesn't mean that they won't recommit. It just damn sure doesn't look good. In the meantime, the scribes who like to talk to teenagers called another USC 5-star recruit. This would be quarterback Julian Lewis. Lewis said his commitment to Lincoln Riley remains. Paul George, as we've said recently, could be the top free agent in basketball. You could imagine it's LeBron James, but we have no reason to believe James wants to leave Los Angeles, so therefore George moves up a spot. As such, he can wield power over the free agent market with an iron fist. He's a multi-dimensional talent who has never won a title, but he's also 34, and this would probably be his last big contract. So what does he say? He goes on his podcast and claims that he's not chasing a ring or the bag, which I don't buy for a moment, and neither should you. Quote, "It's about playing the right style of basketball is what I'm chasing," unquote. What did he mean by the right style of basketball? Of course he didn't say, which means he's lying. I hate to call him a liar, never met him. He's lying. He fit in really well with the Clippers. The Clippers just don't want to give him a max contract because of their woeful salary cap situation. Meanwhile, he's yucking it up with Philadelphia's Joel Embiid, and the Sixers can give him the max deal plus a shot at the ring. He's playing everyone, guys. He wants it all. The bag and the ring. Let's stop playing around and start making up reasons as to why you're going into free agency. Just admit it. Nobody's going to hate. I mean, there might be some random Clipper fans who will boo you when you return to Intuit Arena if you go somewhere else. Most people would understand. The agent for father-son duo LeBron and Bronny James said, there's no package deal in play. Nah. No such thing as a drama that's being created so that LeBron and his kid could both wind up on the same team. Hell no, that's not the case. Even though Bronny only auditioned for 2 teams, one being the Lakers. And even though LeBron has spent more than 2 decades acting as a de facto general manager for whatever team he's on. This is hilarious to me. Because I feel like if Sunday is the Lord's Day, which it is, then Wednesday is apparently the day for people to lie their asses off. Paul George, now LeBron's agent. Yesterday, ESPN gave its postseason grades for NFL teams. They ranked the Rams 20th. It's only fair to mention that they really liked the Chargers offseason, grading it as an A-, the 3rd highest grade that they gave out. A big part of the grade was in hiring coach Jim Harbaugh, which was obvious. It was almost nothing but love from the scribe, from freeing up cap space by trading away Keenan Allen to the drafting of tackle Joe Alt and receiver Ladd McConkey. The only thing that they did not like was not signing a top-flight receiver. All of this is obvious and perfectly fine. I, too, thought the Bolts had a really good offseason. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. How relieved are you that Pierre Lub Dubois gets to go yuck it up with Biden, AOC, and all those Republican goofballs? What do you think about the future of the Sparks without Cameron Brink? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thanks for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortel Queso production. Take care.